with pepper spray and rifles. He writes, the video, which shows Marines taking on irate demonstrators with pepper spray, batons, and rifles, will only serve to heighten concerns that the U.S. Army and federal government are preparing for more civil unrest in America in the aftermath of the Ferguson, Missouri riots. The fact that the training exercise has been presented for the consumption of the American public also raises questions as to its intended purpose. And now we're going to go to the accompanying video report produced by Next News Network's Gary Franchi. And when we get back, I want to talk about some movies he's produced in the past which show how this has been building up to the point that we're getting to today. And we're going to have Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, retired, in here to talk about some other developments that have happened with Jade Helm. So stay tuned.
Breaking news, this just in. We just received a tip about an operational readiness exercise conducted at the Naval Weapons Station in Yorktown, Virginia. Marines training for riot control. That's right. Marines training for riot control. Per the usual, the exercise was given the cover story of overseas preparation. Sergeant Andrew S. Wilbur, a non-lethal weapons instructor, said of a similar exercise, quote, consider they are hypothetically operating within an embassy. However, as we've been following for weeks, public concerns are running high amidst the recent Fort Lauderdale FEMA camp roundup drills and Ontario, California martial law training. Participants in this latest training exercise were the Bravo Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team Company. Oddly, the high production footage you're seeing right now is directly from the Department of Defense. It is a professional news package intended for the public to see. So this exercise actually has a twofold effect. First, the Marines are training for riot and crowd control on American soil where Tea Partiers and Constitutionalists are constantly demonized by politicians and the media. In the event of civil unrest, these same Marines could deploy this training upon Americans. Second, the media production aspect of this is chilling because it shows they're doing this in full public view. They want this to be seen. Why? Because they want the public to accept Marines, not police, conducting riot control during the coming martial law and societal breakdown. While training is a common part of military life, these tactics are suspect in context of our other reports. I implore you to please review the content that is on this channel to gain the full perspective. And, most importantly, please be prepared for the unknown days that lie ahead. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi. And remember, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That is how we bypass the mainstream media. That is how we grow.
And if you go back to where the original video was posted on one of our government paid for, public paid for websites, you can see where they say, well, you know, this is to train the Marines if something breaks out in an embassy. And but as we've shown time and time before, we've shown plenty of footage of Army and Marines even training here on American soil, National Guard. It doesn't stop. The training is continuing here. They always say you train where you're going to fight. We've seen the cities over in Virginia at Camp AP Hill, Fort AP Hill, where they actually built a city with American signage and a mosque and a church and a soccer field. All this stuff is being done for us. And I'd like to call your attention to some videos that we put out a long time ago. We actually didn't put this one out, but William Lewis, the guy who was narrating the video we just played, put out Camp FEMA. Gary Franchi with William Lewis, put out Camp FEMA, American Lockdown, Enemy of the State, Camp FEMA Part 2. And then myself with Jason Douglas and Alex Jones put out Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, just showing the incrementalism that's going on here in our country with the buildup of these FEMA camps that now people are saying are Walmarts, but I'm not so sure about that. But joining me to answer the questions about this Marine drill and a few other drills is my good buddy here, Joe Biggs, who's actually been in, or you saw the riots break out in Ferguson with the people starting to throw stuff at the police and the shots heard and all that other goodness. What do you think after watching this video, just the raw footage, not with the narration?
Well, there is some truth to the fact that they do that training for embassies because 9 times out of 10, they're going to have a squad of Marines guarding those embassies. So that makes sense. But just like earlier when Paul Joseph Watson and David Knight were speaking, there's double meaning behind training. It's not always just as crystal clear as it seems like we're using this only for this one thing. Well, they're using it for that as well, but they're also training to condition people here to get used to doing it on American soil. And that's what you have to focus on. And all these people who call us tinfoil, nut jobs, whatever, that's the angle they look at only, is the fact that, yes, it is training that's useful for embassy protection. But at the same time, if you go read the documents, it shows you that there's a double use for foreign and domestic as well.
It looks like a three-way conditioning. You're training them for an embassy situation here in America, and then you're training the American public by putting this out to Americans and saying, hey, look at what we're doing. We're good little boys and girls. Don't worry when you see this in your neighborhood. It's no big deal. We're here to help.
Well, the scary part about that training is how they're bringing the guns around as well.
Yeah.
Now, I saw the riot police in Ferguson.
You've been shot?
Yeah, I've been shot. Luckily, when they did that, they didn't go quite that far. But like you said, we're seeing these steps increase closer and closer to where it looks like it's an inevitable, where there's going to be a martial law takeover in these areas. And how they train and the intensity of this training has stepped up just out of this world the past year.
Yeah, and in Florida, we saw the footage, kind of grainy looking, but they were marching people through the streets and then putting them into trucks and taking them away.
Yeah, and they say we're crazy if we question that, and we want to look into that further.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants to be sleeping in their bed and then some Chinook or, Apache flies overhead and then troops come, fast roping out and then grab you.
Or say it's night and you see special forces walking through your backyard, they wake up your dog, and you go out there with a gun.
Yeah.
Well, that could happen this summer in Bastrop. And that goes to our next story, which came out of the Austin American-Statesman. We posted a version of it, which I like our headline better. Bastrop County, Texas residents oppose Jade Helm. Many Americans have expressed strong concern over the training. And then you have the Austin American-Statesman watered down headline, Jane held 15 to make appearance before Bastrop County commissioners. Really doesn't say anything and doesn't mention anything in the headline. Doesn't make you want to read the story, which kind of looks like it's on purpose. But tell us about what's going on now.
All right, so what this is a lot of people in Bastrop have kind of been concerned, so to say, with this whole Jade Helm operation. And, we're based out of Austin right here. Bastrop's our next door neighbors. We do a lot of videos about this. We help break the story. We help get it out there and get attention to it. And people are starting to see the implications of this exercise. And luckily, there's a lot of people in Bastrop who are kind of saying, hey, I'm not quite sure. I'm not convinced of your narrative that you've given out about what it is you're really going to be doing, because they said these special operations soldiers will be in civilian attire, driving civilian vehicles, doing suspicious activity. So that's something that's unknown that we're not going to know about. Now we know there's a lot of these ex-special forces guys who are going to do a counter Jade Helm. But this right here is a good opportunity, I think. This whole county commission meeting, if we can get enough people, enough patriots, enough Americans who are sick and tired of this BS, the fact that we spend millions of dollars on these training facilities and they're not using them, they're coming out here and scaring the bejesus out of people. We need everybody to show up on April 27th at 9 a.m. And I'm going to give you the address right now at 804 Pecan Street. It's at the second floor, and this is the commissioner's courtroom in Bastrop. At 9 a.m., people are going to show up and basically talk in a public forum about their concerns about the entire operation. But not just that, the architects, the people who are creating Jade Helm from Fort Bragg, from SOCOM, will be present to talk about this. And I think this is a great opportunity for patriots to get out there and ask some really hard questions like, why is this happening? Why is this going on?
Yeah. What's going to happen if sometime at night, my dog wakes up in the middle of, wakes me up. I come out there with my gun to see what it is. And you got special forces guys with guns trained on me. What would I do in that situation? I think those are the types of questions, especially out there. It's a rural area out there. And there could be a lot of those operations. They said these types of operations are going to be going on. They're going to be trying to work undercover. And
they're going to be doing their operations from, I think, right around 11 o'clock at night until 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
When people are trying to sleep, they've got to go to work in the morning. They're going to have a lot of cranky people out there. People aren't going to like that. And like I said, I want to encourage each and every person out there right now to come out. If you've got to drive 3 hours, who cares? This is something worthy of going to. Get up off your butt, put your Cheetos down, get off the couch, and come out and support this. I'm going to be out there protesting. I'm going to go out there and ask as many hard-hitting questions as possible, because if we can get it shut down in Bastrop, other people across America can see what we've done, and then they can go to their commissioners and all this stuff and they can bring it to the surface. Hey, we don't want this happening in our town. Let's do the same thing and let's stop it.
I just realized, Joe, that by doing this, we are being hostile towards the government. We're playing into their narrative. We're now a hostile state because we just don't agree with what's going on, and we have questions about it. And we know that these Army plans exist. They've existed for a long time. Since the 60s, they've been working on this continuity of government situation for different, whatever may happen. They go, well, if this happens, we're going to be ready with this. If this happens, we're going to be ready with this.
They want to have these re-education camps to...
fun camps. Yes. Hillary called them fun camps.
Yeah, fun camps.
Don't misinterpret what Hillary said. They're for us. Now let's go to this next thing. Paul put out a video yesterday about the Walmarts and their sinister things that might be going on. I'm getting a ton of information. I monitored the whistleblower email. I saw a video that a guy who lived across from one in Vegas went in. Now they're being shut down from midnight to 6 a.m. And he went in and noticed that the floors have been redone and the shelves all have wheel units underneath them. And he's saying, wow, this is weird. This has never happened before. He talks to a guy out front and said, yeah, he agreed with everything that he had observed, agreed with him. He doesn't know why it's being done either. People have been sending you information. What's your take on the whole Walmart thing?
Well, I can understand the whole, the fact that there's a labor dispute going on and they just want to shut them down just to just get that out of their hair.
That's what I think it is. I think it's really, they're cutting people's hours because they wanted a raise. They did get their raise from their strikes. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying, hey, guess what? We're going to shorten your hours. So that's a way for them to even the scales. They don't really care about the little people that are going to be hurt by this or the people that are getting less hours and less work. But at this point, I don't think there's any reason to suspect it's something sinister. Now, Walmart does allow people to park large vehicles there in their parking lots. They kind of encourage that, especially people traveling in RVs. You could look at any Walmart. They have an open policy for that. One, because it brings them customers. It brings them people who are going to go in and buy stuff. And so I think you might see military convoys pulling into a Walmart. Who knows what those motives are, but they do allow that because I've been getting a lot of reports from people saying, hey, you got to look into this. There's military presence at Walmarts. What does it mean? What does it mean? And, all I could say is at this point, I don't think there's any reason to be concerned about it, but we should still keep our eyes open.
Well, definitely. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, but I don't think there's really a correlation between Jade Helm and the Walmart closures. But an interesting thing is, though, yesterday I saw the page on FEMA where they actually had a Walmart exec working on one of their boards.
Right.
So, I mean, that was just kind of another interesting thing, and we have a report about that as well.
Yeah, let's go to that report now, and we'll be back to finish up with Joe Biggs.
Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com. Now, I just finished watching Paul Joseph Watson's new video, Walmart Death Camps for Martial Law Takeover Debunked. And in that, he states that the main reason behind these Walmart closures is due to labor activism, essentially. Kurt Nimmo also has an article up about that exact same thing as well. But I do find it interesting. I found some information on FEMA on their website. And back in August 9th of 2013, they basically appointed new people to a National Advisory Council. And one of the people who is still currently sitting on that board is a Mr. Mark A. Cooper, who is the Senior Director for Emergency Management, Walmart. So this guy is sitting on the board for FEMA, and he's also an executive for Walmart. So this is just something to kind of look at a different angle as well, wondering what's going on with that, if there's any kind of connection with this entire closures of Walmart, if there's a correlation between these and the whole Jade Helm operation. A lot of people think that, because of all these underground tunnels, that has it to do with, possibly transporting stuff, the fact that they're closed down and they're seeing cops and military presence outside of these, and it's further fueling the speculation that these Walmart closures have more and more to do with the Jade Helm operation. So stay tuned for more reports at Infowars.com. I'm Joe Biggs.
And that report is called FEMA Mart Super Tyranny Center if you want to get it online and pass it out to all your friends. And I really think we've really covered the Walmart angle. We're looking at it. I'm looking at all the tips people are sending in. But at this point, I don't think there's any real cause for alarm.
Yeah, there's no clear answer to what's really going on at this point. But like you said, it's good to keep an eye on it.
Totally. Now, this last piece I want to cover out of USA Jobs, Federal Emergency Management Agency is looking for transportation managers. I sent this to you this morning. Two things I would like to point out. One of the key requirements is you must be a U.S. citizen, which I think is good, and obtain and maintain a government credit card. Well, and we've seen what the government does with these credit cards. It came out that they were making like billions of dollars worth of these really small purchases. So we know they have the ability to really waste money But I like in their job summary, when disaster strikes, America looks to FEMA. Now FEMA looks to you. So what do you make of this transportation manager job opening?
Well, it kind of goes with the whole Walmart conspiracy type deal that, a lot of people saying that these places are going to be shut down and used to transport water. Then they're trying to get transportation people who would possibly be driving or handling logistics of vehicles moving across large distances. Like I said, there's a lot of weird jobs that keep popping up, and it's just one of those things we have to keep an eye on and try and track what happens as things progress.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember back in Hurricane Katrina, Walmart actually sent they were sending 2 or 3 truckloads of water to New Orleans, and FEMA turned them away. Can you believe that? They're like, here's the water. They're like, no, you didn't go through the proper processes. You got to go fill out applications A, B, and C. Can't take this water. Get it out of here. So that's what happens when disaster strikes. FEMA turns away free water. I mean, it was free water. It was like, here's the water. We want to help. We've taken most of your small businesses. Here's how we're going to pay back a little bit. We're going to give you a little bit here. And,
that's a place that needed water at that time. I mean, that's just,
they needed fresh water.
They're already going door to door to take people's guns. So now they're just going to keep water from getting to you.
Get people thirsty. Well, that's what we're going to cover in this segment. We're going to be back with a whole bunch more. And I'm going to cover one of the largest polluters in the world. Well, stay tuned. It's going to be at the end of the news, but wait till you see who we caught red-handed polluting our Earth. Rob Doing, this is InfoWars and Nightly News. My buddy Joe Biggs.
What I'm not going to do is just wait. I think it's fair to say that I've shown a lot of patience, tried to work on a bipartisan basis as much as possible, and I'm going to keep on doing so. But in the meantime, let's figure out what we can do lawfully through executive action.
Obama's Executive Amnesty 2015. Texas Congressman Lamar Smith dubbed it the worst prison break in history. 2 years ago, ICE officials released into the United States more than 36,000 illegals with 88,000 convictions under their belt. 200 convictions of homicide, 400 sexual assault convictions, and around 16,000 drunk or drugged driving convictions. Thanks to FOIA requests by Judicial Watch, we know that the Department of Homeland Security told 166,000 more convicted illegals to deport themselves. Of course, none of them left. And now we have a grand total of 195,900 convicted illegals wandering around the United States, all thanks to President Obama. Just last week, an illegal raped his girlfriend's 10-year-old daughter in Louisiana. Another illegal raped a 10-year-old Alabama girl. In 2014, there were 418 child rapes by illegal aliens in 1 month alone in North Carolina. The ACLU recently demanded that religious groups provide abortions for the upwards of 80% of women raped and impregnated as they clamored for Obama's promise of amnesty. The federal government has wasted $41 million taxpayer dollars deporting and importing illegals on half-full charter planes at $8,149 per flight hour on average, whether the flights are full or not. According to U.S. Census figures, illegals will account for 51 million of the U.S. population in just 8 years, a historic 82% of the population. Scarcity of jobs for U.S. citizens and major cultural changes aside, by 2023, 1 in 7 U.S. residents could potentially have a criminal past overlooked by the U.S. government. John Bound, Infowars.com.